Welcome to Blooming Dandelion, where we explore healing, growing, and evolving to live a balanced and fulfilling life. I'm your host, Andrea Rivera Cazul, and each week we'll dive into practical tips, inspiring stories, and expert advice to help you bloom. Let's get started. Hello, Dandelion, and welcome to Blooming Dandelion. I'm so excited that you're here and that you are spending your day with us. Or at least not your day, but a couple of minutes, hours with us, because it's important to always connect with ourselves and to always know that we are a priority in our lives. My name is Andrea Rivera, and I'm just so excited that you're here. We do these podcasts every Sunday. There's been one Sunday that I have skipped simply because we have to take care of ourselves, okay? So even if I don't post, know and remember that we all, including myself, as much as I'm here as a resource, we all have to take care of ourselves. If we don't, the burnout will come quicker, the burnout will feel heavier, and it'll be a deeper rut for us to get out. But anyways, I'm not going to touch base on that. We're going to touch base and start with our bloom and soil. Y'all, I have a big one this week. My soil, I don't really have a soil. I mean, I'm still really hurt with my broken toe. I am still navigating, moving. Yes, I am moving. There's a mess everywhere in my place right now. I move in 8 days. By the time that you literally will hear this podcast, it'll be 7 days. I'll be out in a week. And I feel like we are still fully here. It's kind of crazy. But it's an exciting chapter. It's a chapter for us to save money, because right now, with where we're at, it is just not financially stable for anyone. I would not recommend anyone to rent a place like we were at. But that's my soil. Still continuing on. I've done some exercise, but honestly, it ends up aggravating my toe. So that's fun. I'm not hobbling or like cojeando is what I say in Spanish, cojeando. I'm not hobbling anywhere anymore. But I am still experiencing some tenderness and pain. But that's pretty much it. My bloom this week, y'all, if I can tell you what I did. So a couple of months ago, posted a TikTok about, there was a trend going on about being financially, let me be financially responsible, and then something exciting happening. The exciting thing was that Joanna Levesque, came out with a book. Oh my gosh. If anyone knows me, knows that Joanna Levesque, was the first artist my age, or at least of my interest, that I bought their album. I grew up with my dad's music. I grew up, and I love that my dad expanded my music taste. But there's a random day that I went to Walmart and I got that CD, JoJo, and it changed my life. I have been a fan of her since that day of 2003 is when she got the album out, maybe a little bit earlier. I don't even remember, but it's been that long. And being able to purchase a ticket to go to a meet and greet, I was supposed to go with a friend, and unfortunately she couldn't get off of work. It was a very early meet and greet. I have some flexibility, and I went. And let me tell y'all something. Let me just get real close. She is the nicest person. With however many people she had met already, she was so calm, cool, and collected. She wanted to hear and listen to everyone and wanted to talk with everyone. And that to me is just so humble and so kind from an artist that we see in different avenues. from movies. I saw her in RV with Robin Williams and saw her in Aquamarine with Emma Roberts. I mean, there's so many aspects of what I've grown up with her. And as a fan, it was just, it healed a part of my inner child that not necessarily needed healing, but just like felt very affirmed to see your favorite artist. And just, I know that my 10-year-old little self is so excited and was so excited to have met her. And also while waiting, because I had a broken toe, I ended up meeting some amazing people in line that allowed me to kind of cut line. I was there very early, so there was no one there, but once they started the line, I couldn't walk all that long, so I literally went up to this girl and her mom, and I was like, I'm so sorry to ask, and you can say no, but like, can I stand with you? It's just me. I have a broken toe. But they were so nice. I made a friend in line, which was great. And just, I got to experience it with somebody else, even though I went by myself. And I think those self-care little dates are really fun and important, and like, you should always do something on your own without having to like think of anyone else. It was just nice to do this and to also read her book. I'm almost done. I mean, I am flying by with reading books, and this is just a side note. If you are someone that struggles to sit down and read a book, and I know I've mentioned it before, but honestly, I have been reading books by also listening to the audiobooks. It makes it a world of a difference, especially for me that tends to kind of like fly away in thought. So it just helps a lot when I can literally just sit, listen, and like follow along with the book, so that it's almost like subtitles. It's great. I promise that there's nothing else that could have helped me. So that's been kind of my week. I've been so excited, and just, relaxing, which has been really, really hard because I so desperately want to be just at the gym and crushing it. And I went today, and that was probably a poor choice because now my toe is throbbing. Anyways, if you have a bloom and soil this week, share it in the comments. Let me know. I want to know how you're doing. This is a community-based podcast, okay? I want to know how things are going. I want to know what you want to talk about. I will always, always, always bring it here and talk about whatever those topics are. If you have questions, if you have doubts, if you have something, I promise. Also, this lovely makeup look, it's a little bit much for me recording my podcast, but I was doing a drugstore and high-end makeup look for TikTok and Instagram and my socials, and I wanted to use this makeup and not do another look. So let's dive in to today's episode, because we are talking about letting go of comparison and celebrating your uniqueness, which I think has been, or can be, right? Not has been. It can be a very delicate spot or a kind of eerie conversation when it comes to folks that maybe don't necessarily understand how to embrace their uniqueness. I think it's really important to also note that I think we all struggle with that little evil person on our shoulder that compares us to everything, okay? You are not alone. If you felt like you were alone, I promise you that is not the case. We all suffer from this idea of comparison, comparing ourselves, comparing our bodies, comparing our money, comparing our jobs, everything. Everything is a comparison game. And it can be so exhausting. And being exhausted on top of your daily life, hello? I know that we all feel it. I know that we all feel burnt out at the end of the day because of the comparison game sometimes. because we compare our work, even at work. Even at work, we're not even talking about idle stuff, even at work. But anyways, I really want to dive in because I think that there's so many different levels of the comparison game. And as the years have gone by, they have changed drastically. And I have some experience in the sense of like, I grew up with the internet starting. And I grew up with barely any social media to getting social media to solely being on social media and loving it. But I also grew up seeing the pressures in society. And I want you to know that a lot of bad habits can come from the comparison game. A lot of bad habits for our mental health can come through that. And so I want to share kind of some personal anecdotes of some times that I have gone through and have experienced that comparison little bug or that little jealous envy person on my shoulder, because I think it's real, it's honest, and we need to be honest. We need to be honest with ourselves. For me, I think the comparison game started very, very young. It's hard when you are the oldest in your family because I think the comparison game is a constant. Everyone compares each kid to another, and not on purpose, but in a sense of just like evaluating their strengths. And I think that I have an amazing brother and sister, and I think we all have just different strengths. And we come together and it's just a very united front. Same with my cousins. We all have different strengths. And I find that beautiful. I think that it's almost like painting a rainbow, but like with watercolor, and the watercolors are blending and like spreading. I think that that's how I view our unit and our family and all that stuff. And I don't necessarily compare myself to my family anymore. I think that was something that I needed to really heal from, because as the oldest and also just not really as connected very young with my cousins because I was the oldest, and like my younger siblings were playing with my younger cousins, I was kind of isolated. And so the comparison game started very, very young, but that was within family. Another thing that I would say, and I mentioned this before, but I think in the 90s, early 2000s, the comparison game of a star that you liked, or essentially someone who you idolized, and you're viewing them and you're like, wow, I need to lose this weight. I need to dye my hair. I need to wear makeup. I remember my mom not allowing us to wear makeup to school. And I'm glad that she didn't. But essentially, like, for her, it was like, just have, you have a very young face. Like, don't wear the makeup now. Like, wear makeup when it's going to make a big event like graduation or a school dance. And that way people see the difference, and that way it's not an everyday thing. And I really loved that perspective from her. I still played with makeup with her and everything, and that's the fun part. But I think that that's always something that, like, as a girl growing up, going to high school, and you see everyone wearing just even a little eyeliner or mascara, you kind of feel left out, and you're like, what's going on? I would compare myself with my hair. Like, I would at first hate my hair because I was like, how do I maintain this? No one in my family had curly hair except my dad's side, and I wasn't seeing them. And then my dad's side of the family always straightened their hair. So there was always this stigma that, like, my hair was bad. Like, there's so much. And the comparison game is exhausting. I think with social media creeping up as the days and years have gone by, and social media just becomes more and more prevalent and relevant, it's hard for young generations, even for a person like myself who's in her 30s. I think it's still hard. It's still hard to look and be like, oh, this person has more followers. Oh, this person has more view time. But if we stick into that cycle of this person this, this person this, this person this, that's exhausting. That is tiresome. We have to let go of that trap because it's a negative impact, again, on our mental health. Our mental health is very, very fragile if we don't take care of it. And the slow creeping of how to compare ourselves to somebody else, and that possibly becoming a argument, because sometimes with us comparing our lives, we kind of create a wall. We create a wall with people that doesn't allow them to come in, to get to know us, to really enjoy our company, because we're so focused on, well, they have this and they have that. How do I get here? How do I get there? And there's a difference between aspiration and comparison. You can aspire to become better. You can aspire to want better for your life, to desire new things. But that's not the sole purpose, and it shouldn't be a constant, well, I don't know if I can hang out with this person because they get more views or they get stuff. It is a long game, and it's all a game. And that's the problem. I think that a lot of people don't view these things as serious because they're like, oh, it's just social media. But that bleeds into your life. So how can you allow things for it not to bleed into your life? I think of the comparison game as, you having a scarce mentality. You feel like we have too little. It's too little. We don't have enough, all that stuff. And it's a constant. It's a wheel. And as you keep on going through the wheel, it never goes away, right? And as it never goes away, you don't get to challenge yourself to say, well, I don't need to compare myself because I'm X, Y, and Z, right? I think about times of how to let go of comparison, because you have to get to a place of self-worth, of self-love, of growth that gets to a place that you say, okay, let's evaluate my path. So for me, for example, as a person who is in her 30s, I have experienced comparison in the game of marriage, of babies, of family, everything. And so for me, at this point, you have to think about, where has my journey taken me, right? And a lot of times I have to tell people, I'm like, it's great for me to say, yeah, I'm 31 and I've done this and that, but it's also, I've had blocks in my road. I have had blocks in my journey that other people might have never had. I have had to struggle, and other people may have struggled more than me, and other people may have never struggled. I have trauma, and those are things that I have to start to list off in my journey and be like, okay, I have to make peace with doing this, doing that, doing the other thing, but I also have to make peace with the fact that these things that don't define me got me to this journey, to this point. I think an important part of understanding where your path has gone, your timing and your goals, is also understanding that, the person beside you may have decided to start later, start earlier. Maybe they didn't have the things that were blocking you from achieving those things. And I think that there's different ways to change and shift your mindset. I think number one, you have to create your own schedule and abide by that. Whether that schedule is very lenient in the sense of like, okay, it's not necessarily goals of like a 1-year plan, a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan. Some people don't work like that, but at least having a schedule of a day-to-day. what does my day look like? Is my day spent all day comparing myself, or am I on social media for other purposes? Is it benefiting me, right? These are things that you have to ask, okay? Ask yourself, is this benefiting me and is this serving me? Because if it's not, then you have to do the work to let it go, okay? It's not easy. I promise you, I know that. It's not easy. But the more you take time to evaluate the things that are right in front of you, the less you will be consumed with wanting to compare and contrast everyone's journeys to yours. I always love, there's been like a meme shared and everything of like when folks that we have seen in the media gain their success, and how they got there, and all of them are past the age of 30. Almost all of them. It is very, very rare for someone to be so young and to just catapult themselves into fame, into a job, into the highest earned position. It takes work, okay? It takes determination. It takes consistent work for us to show up for ourselves and see the work. I think the comparison game is so aligned with the self-love journey in the sense of you have to see the growth in order to let go of that comparison, or in order to let go of those monsters. But it's hard. It is hard. And I'm here to tell you that I understand. Why? Because I have been on a self-love journey since 2019. Since 2019. And it's an everyday practice. It is an everyday practice. I thought it was going to be a 1 year and done and I'm healed, I'm great. No, it is not like that. You have to put in the work for you to see change, right? You cannot do the same thing and expect a different outcome. Okay, period. Let me just drop the mic right there. We have to have self-awareness. Okay, in order to break away and break free from the comparison game, we have to have self-awareness. We need to be mindful and demure. We need to be mindful and start comparing ourselves to our journey, not anyone else's. If you want to compare yourself to the journey that you are on. I have changed that mindset. And every time that I feel like I'm comparing myself, I go and sit and I say, okay, if I'm comparing myself to this person, I want to compare myself to the person that I was 5 years ago. And there's something that just, a light bulb, a fire as well, that goes up inside of me and says, damn, you're right. You're right. The person I was 5 years ago is not the person that I am today. And the person I was 2 years ago is not the person I am today. I am slowly learning how to deal with my trauma, with my story of life, with my everyday, in order to let go and learn new things. Okay? So that self-awareness is key. So that way when we have any triggers that set off that comparison and all that, we say, I'm going to think about my journey and my journey alone and compare myself to those different times. And if there's a way for me to compare myself to my journey and find a link of growth, fantastic. Let me do that. Okay? That's really important. A second thing is celebrating your wins. Too often do we not celebrate? Do we not celebrate our wins? Why? Why? Because somebody told you that being self-love is selfish? Okay, be selfish. There's nothing wrong with you being selfish to think about yourself. As long as you are not hurting somebody else, why not? Be selfish in the sense of celebrating your wins. And you don't have to invite anyone else around. You can celebrate yourself because you deserve it. You can take yourself out for a nice dinner and not have anyone around. That's okay. And I encourage you to do so. Okay? Go to a nice lunch, go to a nice dinner. Whatever you do, do it for you, no one else. When we practice gratitude, that also comes from celebrating our wins. It's about understanding where we've been, what we've been through, and being grateful to be here, being grateful to have done a project that maybe was hard, but like now we know how to do that. Being grateful for the opportunities that are shown to us, whether we say, wow, this is an unpaid opportunity, or wow, this is, it's exposure. You're getting to know new people. You have to view it in a different lens, and you have to be prepared to do that. It's a lot of work, but it's feasible. You just have to start. It's a little grain, and you have to start watering that little grain, okay? It's like tending a garden. I think the last one that will help your strategy to break free from comparison is to limit your social media. If you find yourself that you are constantly comparing yourself to certain types of people or certain profiles or certain things, log off. Log off, go read a book, go touch some grass, go cook something, go use your 5 senses. Use your 5 senses and ground yourself, okay? Really, really important. And I think when you also limit your social media exposure, I think a tandem, is that the right word? I'm not sure. But I think in tandem, I believe that if you are following someone and you think that they are no longer, not even a positive influence, but they just don't align with who you are anymore because you've outgrown this era, you can unfollow. You can unfollow. I have been doing that so much with my social media in the sense of I unfollowed a lot of diet profiles, a lot of what other profiles? Oh my gosh, people who were bodybuilders and girls with 6-packs and girls with perfect bikini bodies, and I unfollowed because this did not serve me. It did not serve me to compare my body. It did not serve me to idolize a body that I would never, ever in life get, because even at my lowest weight, I never looked like any one of them. So if you need to do a social media cleanse and clean out people that you follow, I invite you and urge you to do that, because you will be 1,000 times happier. Even if it's family. Even if it's family. You heard me? If the people that don't serve you are family members, you can delete them. It's your profile. You follow whoever you want to follow. And if they don't make you feel safe or aligned in your life goals, delete them. Block them. The block button is my best friend. I hope it becomes yours. I really do. I think in the last couple sections, embracing our uniqueness is so important. There is only one you in this world. I mean, if you are a twin, fantastic, but you still have your own set of quirks, and you have your own ideas and ideals and goals and wants and needs. You are your own person. And whatever you find passionate and exciting in your life, embrace that individuality, because you need to focus on what your strengths are, what your talents are, and your personal evolution of who you are. I know that like some people might think that I'm crazy, but I love to sit here and do my makeup, and I can do it and clean my face off and start from scratch. And I find that so exciting. I love that. I also love to just dig through recipes and learn to do something new and cook it. And that's something I love to do. It's finding the things that make you you. I had to get to a point that I said, oh, I'm not like my mom or my cousins or this or that. Maybe I have something similar, but I'm not them. That was freeing. That was freeing for everyone to be their own person. I think that that's beautiful for us, again, for us to be almost like a kaleidoscope or a watercolor painting, and each individual one of us makes a beautiful picture at the end. I also just, with our uniqueness, and it doesn't have to be about makeup, it doesn't have to be painting, artistic, or anything. It's truly whatever makes you happy. And that can be through music, poetry, writing. There's so many different outlets. I am not a sports person, but my brother is. His strengths are out of this world. He's so smart. My sister, she's a doctor. She is amazing. The way that she retains information, I've always admired the way that she retains information. And my brother too. I think all three of us retain information in different ways. But oh my goodness, I think it's just, we always should be looking at our strengths and focusing on that. And if you look at your weaknesses, look at weaknesses that you can change, okay? We're not talking about, oh, I have a little mole on my face, I can't change that. No, don't do that. We're not comparing ourselves into like this perfect beauty. Also, if you're comparing yourself to people that have makeup on their face and you're like, why does it look so airbrushed? It's because it's probably filtered, okay? There's a filter. There's a filter on. Okay, because no one is this airbrushed. I know that this is probably this is a high def camera that if you are watching me on YouTube, you will see my skin. And yes, my skin looks like this from this far, but when you get up close, you can see my pores. You can see texture because I have texture. Okay, so let's stop comparing ourselves. We are going to be building our confidence, and our confidence comes from within, not outside. Now, you can fake it to make it. If you don't feel confident right now, fake it to make it. Put on a nice dress, look at yourself in the mirror, and you just say, you're hot, you're beautiful, you're strong. Start with affirmations. Just like you see probably on social media where parents are doing affirmations with their kids, start like that. Start like that because you will start believing yourself. And you need to believe yourself in the mirror. So get in the mirror and literally look at yourself and say, I'm hot. I'm a beautiful person. I'm kind. I think about others, and I am ready to get out there. I'm ready to start my day. Period. That's all you got to do. Your self-confidence starts from within. And as time goes by and you keep on working on it, it'll come naturally. I promise that all of these things also will eventually just tie into every part of your life. And it's so, so important for you to take that time to evaluate your life, to evaluate your goals, to evaluate who you are, but truly to celebrate the uniqueness that you carry within you. Because you shouldn't be finding or looking for outward validation. You have enough validation from within. And you need to accept that you are the best person to surround yourself with. If you don't believe that, who's going to believe that? Who's going to want to be around you? Right? Oh, okay. That's what I thought. I want to leave you with an action item. I want you to, this week, sit with yourself, write in a journal, listen to some meditative music, whatever the case may be. Sit outside if you can, get some rays of sunshine in the meantime, because I know that if you are in the States, the time is changing. The sun is no longer coming up at the same time, and it is leaving much, much earlier. So I want you to really work on what it is that you need to celebrate. What is it this week or this month that you need to celebrate as a win? What is it that you need to focus on in your journey? And what are the accounts that you need to unfollow? Okay, biggest one. If you need to unfollow accounts and follow more positive influences, more positive people, more people that align with who you are, go do that. Okay, this is me giving you permission. This is me telling you that you have homework. Okay, don't wait until next week. Do your homework because it's for yourself. Okay, remember that any homework or anything, any action item that I give you, it's not for me. It's for us. We need to work on it together. Okay, so I hope that you always remember that you are unique, that you are a badass, that you are worthy, that you are scrumdiddlyumptious. But most of all, I hope that you always know that there's always a space for you here, and that we celebrate our unique qualities, and that we always champion our uniqueness. I love y'all. Bye. Thanks for tuning in to Blooming Dandelion. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Follow us on social media on Instagram at Blooming Dandelion Podcast for more inspiration. And remember to keep on blooming. See you next time, dandelions.